Clint Eastwood has become a towering figure in Hollywood thanks to his amazing rise from struggling actor to famous director. Eastwood has been enthralling viewers with his mesmerizing performances and gripping stories for more than 60 years. His huge wealth, which came from building a huge company. A lot of people have thought about and are interested in him as he gets close to the end of his life. How can his family and friends deal with the mental and emotional problems that come with getting a big name, a lot of money, and a lot of expectations? The man who started the legend Clint Eastwood grew up in San Francisco, California, in a poor family. Laid the groundwork for his fiery independence and unwavering desire. He was born in May of the year 1930. Growing up during the Great Depression taught him how important it is to keep going even when things get hard. His parents were both steelworkers, so he learned to work hard and appreciate art from them. His mother raised him while she worked outside the home. This childhood would make you think. Eastwood to beat many challenges and do well in everything he does in the future, setting the stage for his legacy. At Los Angeles City College, where he majored in music and worked a lot in the theater and movie business, he began his journey. At first, he had small roles in a few shows before he got really into acting. Eastwood didn't give up and he used rejection to make his art better, even though he had to deal with a lot of it early in his work. His big break came when he got a part in the hit TV show Rawhide in 1958. It put him in the public eye and led to more opportunities. Sergio Leone's Italian movie A Fistful of Dollars, which came out in 1966, was Eastwood's big breakaway. After this movie came out, he became well known. The spaghetti western genre was born with that name. When Eastwood's mysterious performance in Man with No Name went viral, Hollywood accepted him right away as a cultural hero. He became even more famous in Hollywood in the 1970s thanks to movies like Dirty Harry, in which he played a hard-boiled, morally gray hero who captivated viewers and kept his. Getting more famous. Eastwood made a name for himself in the movie business as an actor, then as a famous director and producer, and then as an actor again. His writings often dealt with serious topics and were interesting on many levels because they were full of real feelings and stories that made people think. Some of the movies he directed that got good reviews and Oscars are. There were lots of Unforgiven and Million Dollar Baby songs. Because he was dedicated to being real and doing the best job possible, Eastwood left behind a unique memory that boosted his charisma. Eastwood has always been humble, even though he is very famous. He chose a simple life over the flashy things that come with being famous in Hollywood. He loves being outside, especially playing golf and riding horses, as a way to stay in touch with his background. His love of nature has had a big effect on his life and on the subjects he writes about in his movies, which are often about the beauty and complexity of nature, the human state. Eastwood's personal life and his work as an actor have both had their ups and downs. The media has paid a lot of attention to his relationships with many women, including his 2 weddings and other public relationships. The stories he tells in his movies are based on his own life events, which have helped him learn more about family, love, and loss. Eastwood's life is full of feelings and events that show how strong the human spirit can be. What would people remember most about Clint Eastwood's amazing life after all the praise was over? Putting together an empire. Clint Eastwood's business sense grew along with his starring career. In contrast to many of his friends, Eastwood was cheap with his money. Threw away their success. Through his assets in real estate and film production companies, he built a strong portfolio that will last for a long time. When Eastwood started Malpaso Productions in 1989, he was able to write and direct his own movies and shape stories that were important to him. This change in strategy was very important. The movies The Bridges of Madison County and Mystic River made Clint Eastwood a big name in Hollywood and made a lot of money at the box office. His movies often dealt with heavy subjects like guilt, ethics, and the human state, but they also found ways to be funny, to make people happy and move them. He made smart investments that paid off big, giving him a fortune that is now thought to be worth more than $375 million. A big chunk of his money comes from the real estate business he runs. Eastwood has been very smart about the real estate he has bought, especially near Carmel, California. He's become a sign of success and, with the natural beauty that surrounds him on his land in this lovely coastal town. The farm has been a safe place for Eastwood to go after a busy life in Hollywood. Its peaceful atmosphere and beautiful views of the Pacific Ocean make it a great escape. Eastwood has improved his image as a smart businessman by investing in other properties and investing in other businesses. Business tasks. Giving back to the community that had accepted Eastwood was important to him, so he used his financial skills for more than just getting rich. Through his organization, the Clint Eastwood Organization, he has spoken out in favor of protecting the environment and teaching the arts. Because he has a kind heart, he has given a lot of money to arts support efforts, making sure that people of all ages will have the tools they need to be creative. Eastwood was known for being a tough guy, but this caring desire to help others shows a different side of him. It shows he wants to change the world for the better and be a good person. Set an example for his family. Besides his production company, he has also put money into the movie and TV businesses. Many aspiring directors look up to Eastwood, who helps them improve their skills and come up with new ways to tell stories. He has left a lasting legacy of artistic cooperation by giving new filmmakers a voice, which has made the business better for everyone. Everyone. That Eastwood is so dedicated to developing talent shows that he believes stories can inspire action and make people think. Eastwood has earned a lot of respect for making smart business decisions. Many people in Hollywood think he has one of the smartest business minds there is, leading discussions about how art and business can work together. He has shown that it is possible to make meaningful art and also make a lot of money at the same time. Upcoming directors look up to him for this skill. But as he grew his kingdom, what hidden problems were brewing that could throw off all of his well-laid plans? Family life just like his. Between work and pleasure, Clint Eastwood's life has been full of interesting events. The media's frequent coverage of his relationships has shown how complicated family relationships can be when someone is a Hollywood star. Eastwood has been married twice and has 8 kids. All of them have to deal with the weight of their famous dad's name. He was married to Maggie Johnson for the first time in 1953 and had 2 children with her, Kyle and Allison. The year 1984. His future relationships, on the other hand, were the real riddle. A daughter named Francesca was born from his relationship with actress Frances Fisher for a long time, and a son named Morgan was born from his marriage to TV director Dina Eastwood. Because of love, competition, and the huge pressure that comes with their father's fame, his children have complicated relationships with each other. A very interesting fabric. It hasn't always been easy to keep the peace in these relationships. The problems that come with having a blended family and the expectations of being a star have been problems that Clint Eastwood's children have had to deal with their whole lives. The news about their dad's ties brought attention to their lives and made them deal with the public's views they made about their family and themselves. Receiving a fortune of this size has a big effect on your emotions. Each sibling has their own hopes and dreams, and the past of their family weighs heavily on them. Differences in family members' desire to keep the family name and others' desire to go their own way could cause problems. Will Clint Eastwood's kids be strengthened by the fact that they all feel sad about their father's death and admire his legacy? Or will their anger and jealousy, which were stoked by him, make them weak? Because of the stresses of being rich, push them apart as a family? The Eastwood brothers have shown over the past few years that they will always be there for each other, good times and bad. At family gatherings, they carry on their dad's work and form bonds with each other that go beyond the glitzy world of Hollywood. They are reminded that even though their father is famous, they are still linked by love and shared experiences. The fact that they can find things they have in common, despite their differences, shows how strong their family bonds are. Despite this, disputes are still possible. Having a lot of money can make it hard to talk to people and compete with them when it's time to decide what to do with their dad's property. As they deal with these problems, they need to talk freely with each other. It is important to make sure that everyone feels acknowledged and valued so that the siblings can honor their father's memory and also follow their own interests. How Clint Eastwood raised his children has had a huge impact on his children is a big part of how their family works. Eastwood's typically direct and hands-on method was used to teach his kids responsibility and discipline. He told them they should always be honest, and then told them to follow their dreams and work hard to make them come true. Because of this foundation, some of his children have gone on to have successful jobs in business or show business. Others have done good things like their father did. On the other hand, Eastwood's parenting style puts a lot of pressure on their children to do well. Siblings may feel like they aren't good enough when there is a lot of pressure to live up to the family name. It's even competitive. Kyle Eastwood is a jazz singer and his famous actor father. He has talked a lot about how his father's fame both inspires and scares him. Allison has felt the pressure of expectation as her acting and writing jobs have grown, just like a lot of other people. Because of this complicated relationship between love and pressure, there can be fights between brothers. These factors may become clearer as they deal with the fact that they will be getting a big inheritance. How can they show they care? Father's background while also trying to reach their own goals and figure out who they are. They may argue, but they also have the chance to work together toward the goal of upholding their father's values as they create their own identities. The emotional complexity of Eastwood's family bonds affects how his huge wealth is shared. The discovery of the destiny Clint Eastwood's wealth isn't just a number, it's a story, a fabric made with love, hard work, and sacrifice. His huge art collection, movie rights, and real estate interests are just a few of the many ways that his wealth shows that he loves art and culture. His unwavering dedication and drive can be seen in the huge business empire he created. It shows a man who saw the good in going after both art and money. The most important thing he owns is a house in Carmel, California. Eastwood has built a deep connection with nature on this huge farm that is more than just a house. This house shows what Eastwood's life was like, from quiet walks down the shore to small get-togethers with family and friends. It perfectly combines his love of the arts with his search for peace in the midst of the chaos of fame. Besides his home in Carmel, Eastwood has invested in many other properties, showing that he is a very good with money. More. He owns commercial buildings, fancy homes in nice neighborhoods, and shares in a number of successful businesses and restaurants. Eastwood has shown that he is a smart businessman by spreading out his businesses and making a steady income from things other than movies. Eastwood is also very wealthy, and his art collection is a big part of it. More than. Not only is he a fan, but he also speaks out for both new artists and well-known names in the field. His collection, which includes works by famous painters, shows how much he believes in art's power to change people. Creating art and spending time with his family bring him happiness. He is proud of him for it. His children and grandkids may one day not only get his money, but also his cultural legacy, which shows what he stands for. However, as the fortune is told, more and more questions come up. How much of it will his children share? As each sibling struggles with their own goals and standards, there is a lot of talk about possible family arguments. When it comes to with money problems, will they do what their father wants or cause problems between them? The emotional complexity of inheritance can lead to unintended results. Eastwood's family needs to be very careful as they navigate this dangerous land. There is a big emotional choice for Eastwood's brothers and sisters when they start to talk about how to split their dad's money. When? When people are angry or upset and have different ideas, talking about money can quickly get heated. They need to figure out how to be open and honest with each other while still taking their dad's past into account. Clint is also listening to these talks while they happen. More than likely, people will be interested in Eastwood's children. The media's attention on them can make their already difficult family relationships even more so. No matter what, they must always be committed to each other and put their ties ahead of everything else. Make them want you. Making a caring space for each other will help them work together to protect their father's memory for future generations. What options does Eastwood's family have as they deal with his wealth? These decisions could have effects that last a long time. What wealthy rich does for people. People's identities, connections, and worldviews are changed by them in ways that go beyond their finances. After growing up in the spotlight, Clint Eastwood's kids now have to figure out how to balance being famous with their dad's money. Some people think that Eastwood's kids are under too much pressure to carry on his job. Even though having a regular income is great, it's possible to become too dependent on it and stop growing. How will they handle it? The benefits of their family's wealth while also trying to be independent and find their own identity? The real fight is for them to find their own way while still honoring their father's work. Also, getting money out of the blue can have psychological effects you didn't expect. Sadly, there are a lot of stories about trust fund babies who have problems like drug abuse, social isolation, and not having any goals in life. As important as the financial effects are, being born into a famous family also has emotional and mental effects that the Eastwood children have to deal with as they get used to their new home. Would they ask for help dealing with their feelings, or would the weight of their father's memory be too much for them to bear? A few of Eastwood's children may find security in. While things are going badly, they may decide to give back to the community by giving money to good causes. Charity work can help them remember who they are while still living up to their dad's standards. They could use their wealth to make a difference in the world by giving back to their communities. This could be through art projects, protecting the environment, or teaching activities. That being said, problems can happen when someone gives in to the urge to live a life of luxury. Some people may give up the values their father taught them if they get the chance to live a life of luxury. This would make the difference between their childhood and the reality of their newfound wealth even bigger. How to enjoy the rewards of their inheritance while still being humble will be a very important part of their journey. Clint Eastwood's life story might serve as an example for his children. They make their way through this rough territory. His steadfast commitment to his goals, along with his honesty and morality, can serve as an example for them. Kids can live lives that respect their dad's legacy while still being true to themselves if they learn these lessons. Another thing is that brothers can work together, which could make them more powerful. They can have a bigger effect on society if they work together to solve bigger problems and pool their resources. As they deal with the problems that come with their family's difficult history, they may find that working together makes their relationship stronger. What will happen to Eastwood's family now that they have a lot of money? How are they going to deal with this new situation? Making a difference and looking back, Clint Eastwood must think about how he changed the world when he remembers his amazing life. His charitable work has helped a huge number of people, as well as changing the face of movies lives. The fact that Eastwood is dedicated to arts and community work shows us more about the person behind the famous roles. In his later years, Eastwood has become more thoughtful, and he often thinks about the values he wants to teach his children. He now knows that having things isn't the best way to measure success. Instead, what matters is how much impact you have on the people around you. His family and he had deep talks about what it meant to be. Because of this discovery being real, having understanding, and taking responsibility for one's privilege, the family's understanding of their duties as guardians of his memory is shaped by these talks, which become turning points. But as he gets closer to death, deep worries about what he really wants for his memory stay with us. How does he plan to teach his kids right from wrong? Learning beyond wealth. The stories he tells them about his life could help them find their way by showing them how important family duty and sticking with something can be. Most important about Clint Eastwood's life was how he changed people's lives, not how much money he made. His charity work has made a positive difference in the world, and his movies have moved people in a generation. His family and friends are looking forward to his death and aren't sure how they will honor him and handle the difficult inheritance he left them. During these times of reflection, Eastwood can also think about how his life has shaped his values. Through it all, he has learned what it takes to live a meaningful life, whether it's through overcoming sadness or the challenges of stardom. By telling his loved ones about these realizations, he hopes to encourage them to find meaning in their work and give them a sense of purpose that goes beyond making money. What shocking facts about Eastwood's life will make his family and friends cry in this last chapter? With a new understanding, Clint. One of the most interesting things about Eastwood's life is how he has always been honest and creatively honest. As a shining example of honesty in a field full of scams and fakes, Eastwood stands tall. He has used his power to back stories and points of view that aren't getting enough attention by making movies that call for social change. With this much dedication, he doesn't just work on TV shows that show the morals he has taught his kids. Instead of focused on passing on money, Eastwood shows how important it is to work hard, have strong morals, and be brave enough to follow your dreams. This new point of view makes it clear how Eastwood's influence could spread beyond material wealth. His family and friends learned from him that the best way to live is to help other people and change the world for the better. Not only do Eastwood's children have to deal with the financial stress of inheriting his wealth, they also have the heavy responsibility of carrying on his beliefs, of being honest, open, and helpful to the people. If they understand how important it is to make a real difference, it might inspire them to start their own charity work. This way, they can share their own beliefs and interests while carrying on their father's work. Eastwood has an effect on everyone in the neighborhood, not just his close family. A lot of people around the world have been moved by his film's brave explorations of important social issues like racism, violence, and forgiveness. His kids, when they see how hard their father works for social justice, they may be motivated to do the same. This chance to interact with others can change how the Eastwood name is seen. Instead of being associated with wealth and Hollywood, it could be seen as a sign of positive change. Along with that, the honesty that has always been at the heart of Eastwood's work is what makes his movies so strong. By showing them how important it is to be themselves, he hopes that his kids will follow their dreams and not give in to what other people want them to do. Because this focus on authenticity is so important, they may find success in the arts, business, or social action, all areas where they can be themselves. As the kids go on their adventures, they might find inspiration in their dad's art. If they take the time to study them, the lessons he taught through his movies can help them get through tough times. As they learn more about their father's artistic vision, they may find things they have in common and grow closer to each other. What will happen to Eastwood's kids as they try to figure out who they are now that he has left a real legacy? Eastwood's legacy and what comes next is about how to. As Clint Eastwood's family gets ready for what's to come, it's important to remember and keep up his heritage. It will be hard to deal with their dad's money gift, but it will be even harder to figure out how to carry on the routines that made dad's life unique. Will they do what their father did and support local arts and programs, or will they go their own way and use what they've learned? What kind of memory Eastwood leaves behind will also depend on how his children treat each other. Their shared future will be shaped in large part by how they compete and work together. Are they going to stick together through their shared sadness and determination to do what their father wants, or will fame and money drive them apart? With an inheritance, family relationships can change a lot, so Eastwood's family will need to be careful to avoid problems. As the family thinks about their father's life, they are faced with the truth about his work. Clint Eastwood's films, which cover decades, question what most people think is true and make you think about yourself. Will his children do what their father did and back similar projects, or will they do something different? Try to leave their mark? Their professional lives will be changed by this decision, and so will how people think of the Eastwood name. His family learned values from Clint Eastwood that are just as important to his memory as the movies he made. His kids might feel like they have to follow his example of being honest and doing the right thing even as they go their own ways in the world. As they look at when things get tough, they might find strength in the fact that they both value their father's values. If the Eastwood kids decide to carry on their dad's work, it could be a turning point in their lives. Along the way, they will have tough conversations about how they feel about their father's mission and their own goals. They can make a picture of their dad together while still letting each sibling be themselves as long as they talk to each other and value each other's thoughts. As the kids think about their dad and his legacy, they might come up with ways to use his values and the good things they do for others. Giving back to the community and supporting the arts were important to their father, and this could come in the form of family projects or charitable groups, working together. They can make a bigger splash and make sure Clint Eastwood's impact lasts a long time. What will become clear about the Eastwood family's future as they deal with their father's legacy? The effects of the media and what most people think in this age of social media. What most people think is very important. Because of Clint's fame, the Eastwood family has to deal with a lot of attention. That there are so many good records of his life and work. How will they deal with the stress of being famous, rich, and meeting the needs of all their fans? Because of how close the scrutiny is, there is a lot of pressure and demands that aren't realistic. As Eastwood's kids try to figure out who they are, they also have to deal with the weight of their famous father. The question now is, will they? Do you want the attention or try to avoid it? Some people may like being in the spotlight and use it to improve their careers, while others may want to be hidden and live a life away from the spotlight. The family also has to think about what to do when they read news stories that lie or exaggerate about them, the experiences. It's hard to be open and have your privacy respected at the same time, which can put a strain on family ties. As they make their way through this dangerous terrain, they can think about their parts in the Eastwood family history again while honoring their father's heritage. The attention that the media has paid to Clint Eastwood's life has both good and bad points. It's good for them to show off their accomplishments, but it could also make them look weak and cause unfair comparisons. Eastwood's kids will need to work on having a strong sense of who they are that is based on their values instead of letting other people tell them what is important. By getting together, they can find strength in what they have in common and make a new promise to carry on the family name. While they make their own paths through life, things are already tricky in this situation, and the rise of social media has only made things worse. Being able to see their lives and choices right away has led to both sympathy and criticism, which the Eastwood family now has to deal with. Due to the huge amount of pressure to keep up a certain public image, some brothers may feel worried or unsafe. They need to help each other out and form a bond that will help them deal with the challenges of fame. As they talk to their fans, Eastwood's kids can take advantage of the real-life connections that social media makes possible. They can change the history of their family name and, by writing about their experiences and volunteer work, people can be inspired to follow their dreams. If they take this proactive approach to controlling their public image, they may be able to be true to who they are while still honoring their father's legacy. People in the news will be watching Clint close to Eastwood's family in the years to come. How are they going to deal with this? Even though Clint Eastwood's movie achievements get all the notice, his charitable work is just as important to his legacy. His service to the community, especially in the arts and protecting the environment, set off a chain reaction that will be carried on by his children and grandchildren. Children of Eastwood have the hard job of carrying on their kind father's work, memory as they take care of their gift. A person's moral sense may help them decide what kind of volunteer work to do. Each child's love for different problems is shaped by growing up in a home that valued community service. There is a chance for them to start a charity or an activity that shares their values, like supporting local art programs, protecting the environment, or protecting social justice. On top of that, they can change how people think of the Eastwood name by doing good things for others. They have the power to spin the story from one of fame and lucky to be kind and help other people. This change in the family's past might teach future generations that making a difference in the world is more important than just getting rich. But there are also things that can get in the way of being generous. Eastwood's kids need to figure out why they give. They should not do it because they feel like they have to or because they want to make a change. For their charity work to be sincere, they need to find causes that are similar to their own, with what they love. When siblings work together, they might be able to have more of an impact. They can have a bigger effect on society if they work together to solve bigger problems and pool their resources. As they deal with the problems that come with their family's difficult history, they may find that working together makes their relationship stronger. On top of their charitable work, the Eastwood kids might also figure out how to combine their charitable work with things they enjoy. If one of your brothers is really into music, they might start a foundation to help new artists by giving them advice and tools. If another environmentally friendly sister could work with neighborhood groups to get the word out about green projects, that would be great. The best way to do it. People can make a change while still being themselves by combining their interests with their charitable work. As the Eastwood brothers take part in these charitable activities, they may also understand how important stories are in this work. By telling stories from their own lives and the lives of others, they can bring more attention to the problem and encourage people to do something about it. They help other people. People might find this type of storytelling interesting, which could get more people involved in important causes and make communities stronger. The children of Clint Eastwood will carry on his charitable work in what ways? How will this affect their own lives? How important expectations are the Eastwood family is having a hard time adjusting to their new life because of all the expectations that people have of them. Everyone in the family may feel like they have to carry on their father's legacy of wealth and success. A sense of not being worth anything and not knowing what one's This weight can lead to a sense of identity. There are many ways that these ideas can affect things. Some people might be moved to do their best in life to honor their father's memory. This could make some people feel bad about themselves, while others might feel like they have to fight against the family tradition. The trick is to find a way to honor Clint Eastwood's reputation while still letting everyone do what they want, their hopes and dreams. Differences between generations in what success means may make things even more complicated. Though Clint Eastwood may have cared about critical acclaim and box office success, his children may value things like personal growth, being unique, and making a positive change in the world more. Everything. Depending on how they see their different standards, this can either make their relationships stronger as they work through them together, or it can make them less close. The Eastwood brothers may be able to handle the stress of expectations better if they can talk to each other often. For example, you can help people along their paths by making them feel welcome so they can talk about how they're feeling and what they want to achieve. To help every child find their own way. A successful person in the world while still doing their dad's work, we might need to rethink what it means to be successful. In the past few years, it's become more important for all families, including the Eastwoods, to talk about mental health and happiness, as they dealt with the personal problems that came with carrying on there. Besides their dad's business, they might also think about therapy as a way to make sense of their feelings and goals. Promoting open conversation about mental health can help create a culture of support. This way, siblings can talk about their problems and successes without fear of being judged. Also, it might be good for each child to set personal goals that are in line with, based on their hobbies, values, and morals. Kids can rethink what it means to carry on their dad's work by setting their own standards for success as they form their own identities. By doing things this way, we can give our peers strength and stress that success is not a one-size-fits-all idea, but rather a unique path that each of us must follow. After they had their, what will the Eastwood family do to deal with the expectations of others and make their own paths? The end as Clint Eastwood's death draws near. His family and friends are at a crossroads. They have to face the fact that he is mortal while honoring his life and making plans for their own futures. At this important point, there is a chance to think about yourself, grow, and make changes. Moment. These last few days could be the time for the most important talks ever. Sharing your thoughts, experiences, and hopes for the future is a good way to bring your family closer together. As they prepare for life without their father, they can face their fears and weak spots in this sensitive area, where they can also work together to form a united front. Clint Eastwood taught his family love and morals that will be more important than his movies or money in the long run. At his core, he was a man of strong beliefs and energy. And honesty stays with them as they move forward. This inheritance will shape the decisions they make, how they see themselves, and how they change the world. In this last part of his life, Eastwood makes it clear that he wants his kids to do well in life as they get older. He will likely think about his life and work while he is with his family and tell them the truth about their hopes and dreams. Aims for. He can give them direction and encourage them to follow their dreams, which will help them deeply understand what it means to live a happy life. As the Eastwood family gets ready for the change, they may find strength in their shared past and decide to stick to the values that have guided them for a long time. Using their father's legacy as a guide for the hard road ahead, they can respect his memory and make their own paths in the future. Clint Eastwood might choose to share some lessons about life as he thinks back on his journey. These thoughts could help you think about how important it is to keep going, how important it is to put in long hours, and how important it is to be yourself. If Dad tells his kids these things, they will be better prepared to deal with problems in the future. Making time for deep talks during this time together could also help family members get closer. In order to build a supportive and caring environment, the Eastwood brothers should be honest with each other about their problems, successes, and hopes. By getting together to honor their dad's life and work, they may take his ideas to heart and build a future they can be proud of. What do you think about the Eastwood legacy? Leave a comment with your ideas, and please subscribe if you want to see more in-depth looks at well-known people.